Hey everyone, it's Lisa with Life in Layouts, and I am back with It's All About the Mouse, which is a YouTube monthly hop that we do. This month I'm going to be using this sketch from Scrapbook Generations, and I pulled out my Simple Stories collection. I have them all mixed in, but it is mainly the Simple Stories 2 collection. This is the inspiration that we are going to be using this month, and I will tell you that I struggled so much with this inspiration. I looked through hundreds and hundreds of photos, and I could not find anything that went with this inspiration. I found these pictures of Eli when we were at Animal Kingdom, but they weren't really right. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I just pop over to Magic Kingdom and see what photos I can get? Because when I take my photos at Disney, usually I remove all of these items that you're going to see in the pictures because I don't want them in my pictures. They're items to keep me cool, which is the liquid hydration in the bottom right, as well as the fan is where I'm pulling the inspiration from. And I will tell you that the cast member photographers did not disappoint with these photos. I'm so excited to show them to you. All right, so let's get into the bones of the layout here. I pulled out several sheets of paper trying to kind of match with the sketch itself. I definitely did not follow the sketch in regards to the size of the papers. That bottom paper there is 1.5 inches. But honestly, when I was looking through the papers, I was mainly focusing on the images that were on the paper. So the bottom, I have the film strip, and I just wanted one single row of the film strip. The middle section there, where the word magic is, I really just cut off the piece where I could include the magic as well as all of the stars. And then in the top upper left-hand corner of that piece of paper, there were stars on that side, so I went and cut the same size as the right-hand side. And then for the camera paper, I wanted 2 rows of the camera, so that is cut at 2 inches. And then I filled in the middle section with that black cardstock, and that is cut at 3 inches with a little bit tucked underneath that camera paper. And then I pulled out this blue paper, and I did follow the sketch with the blue paper. On the left hand side of the layout, it is 4.5 inches by 7 inches, and that's on the right hand side. And then on the left hand side, it is 8.5 inches by 7.5 inches. And my photos are going to lay on top of that. So I have 3 4x6 photos. The sketch does call for 3 3x3 photos, but I did go ahead and leave my photos in a 3x4 size. I am going to ink up all of my edges in my black soot, except for the center edges. That way it makes it look like it's a continuous across both sides. As I'm getting this paper down, I do want to encourage you guys to go and check out everyone that is listed below. I am so excited to see how everyone took this inspiration. I did see a little sneak peek of Shannon's, and hers has some super cute die cuts and embellishments on it, so I can't wait to see what hers looks like. This is probably one of my favorite hops to be in because I get to document these Disney layouts, and I have so many Disney photos. Sometimes I struggle on what pages to work on because it's so overwhelming. I have so much of the Say Cheese collection, and sometimes it doesn't always work with the papers. I also have so many photos, being a pass holder for the last 6 years. The first couple of years I did the pocket page series. I didn't like that, but I had so many photos that I wanted to make sure that I was able to document it without it being overwhelming. But I am now moving into where I truly want to start documenting different things, and this hop every month has really started to inspire me to document things that I wouldn't necessarily have thought of, like this particular layout. So you saw the photos briefly there. When I went to the cast member, and I went to several different cast members, I said to each one of them, here is my vibe. I am a tourist, and I am trying to beat the summer heat. Now, I specifically wore my pass holder ears so that it was very obvious that I was a pass holder. So when I was speaking with the cast members, they kind of got that gist as well. Some of the cast members were like, oh, okay, and they didn't really play into it. So I was out there posing and they were just taking pictures. Whereas other cast members were giving me ideas. There is one where she's like, okay, tilt your bottle up and pour it into your mouth. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. I love the Disney cast member photographers. They are amazing. If you are planning a trip to Disney, or if you are planning to become a pass holder, I highly recommend getting the Disney photo package. It is absolutely worth it. You can get your photos taken at every single photo photographer. They are all over the parks. I can tell you from experience that they will take a ton of photos. This particular photo session, and I definitely put that in quotations, was probably about 2 hours. I spent like 2 hours walking around Magic Kingdom. I rope dropped, so I was there super early because it does get really hot in the summer, because I just did these on May 19th. So when you do rope drop, most of the people are trying to get photos in front of the castle, like directly in front of the castle. So I started out over to the right. There is like one in Tomorrowland, and then also on either side of the castles, those particular spots tend to be less crowded. So I started out there, and then I went and did the Smellephants on Parade and came back after it kind of died down a little bit and took the photos right in front of the castle. And I will tell you that I got just over 150 photos in the 2 hours. Now, granted, that's all I was doing. I was bouncing from photographer to photographer, getting these photos, asking them to take a bunch of photos for me. But I will tell you that on any given day, if I am there with a friend and we are doing photos, like we're actually participating and making sure that we're getting photos taken, 150 photos is normally what I get. Plus, you will also get all of the ride photos. Highly, highly recommend it. It's definitely worth the price. I do get a discount because I am a pass holder, but I want to say it's less than $200 and you will get tons of photos. Plus, as mamas, we don't always get in the photos, so this is a great way for us to make sure that we're included. Also, remember that if you do decide to go to Disney and you get these photos taken like in front of the castle and things like that, if you do not decide to get the photo package, the cast members will take a photo with your phone and they have no issues doing that as well. All right, so I've gotten the photos down. I matted my 3x4 photos. I matted it on the same blue as the blue background that the 3 4x6 photos are on, but I just didn't like it. So I decided to go ahead and pull the photos off of the blue and added it onto this red paper here. I like this red paper a lot, but it's so busy that I tend to just mat my photos with it because I'm not sure what else to do with it. And I do have quite a few of these particular pieces of paper. I am using the layering guides. I do have these linked below. You can pick them up from Amazon. And I will tell you that even though there's a little learning curve with it, these are the best things to make sure that you have an even edge around all 4 sides of your photos. So after I get all of the photos mounted on the red, I do decide to put the photo of me and Olaf up on Fun Foam, which is going to be on the left-hand side. And then on the right, I put one down flat, which is me with my cooling towel. And then the photo with me and my fan, I decided to put that up on Fun Foam, so it gives a little bit of dimension. So these are my 3 truly recommended items that you are going to need to beat the summer heat in Florida. You absolutely need a water bottle. Disney does offer free water refills at any quick service, so bring that water bottle full of ice and then you can fill it up with water throughout the parks. And then also a cooling towel. I obviously have a Disney one, but you can pick these up at Amazon's pretty cheaply. And then a neck fan. That is absolutely 100% a requirement when you are in Disney during the summer. And make sure that you also bring either extra batteries, or mine is rechargeable, so bring a battery pack as well, because you will die if you are using it in the morning and then it dies. In the afternoon, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I live without this. Of course, I wanted to do some stitching, and I wanted to put some cross X's on the stitching between the camera paper and the star paper, but this particular template, the stitching would have gone over the camera, so I moved the template over to different spots to make sure that they were kind of flat underneath the camera and then taller in between the cameras. These stitching templates are no longer available. They are made by Basil. However, I do have it linked below where you can reach out to Basil and let them know that you want these back, because I think that's the only way that we can get it. So if you send them a message and say, I love this, stitching is super popular right now, hopefully they will get the idea and bring these stitching templates back for us. I don't use them very often, but when I do love them. They are pretty awesome. So I do add that cross stitch to the left and right hand side of the layout. And then I also use my Tim Holtz ruler to put a just straight line on the white piece of paper. I did decide to leave in this part here. I use the thread, I will link it below, the thread that I use. I picked it up at Amazon to get me started with a variety of colors, and then I just pick up the additional pieces from Hobby Lobby if I run out of a color or I need a specific color. And then I also picked up this little magnetic tin that you see in the upper right hand corner at Amazon. It is linked below, as well as my needle threader guide things. Those are the little flower items that you can see on the table there. It's like a teal color. You stick that through the needle, then you put the thread through it, then you pull it back and it threads your needle for you. For my particular thread, I use a 6-strand thread, and I do separate them into 3. So I divide them in half. I threaded the first 2 stitching, went to tie it, and then realized it looked super thin and realized I had only done 2. So I had to pull one from the other one and then add it back to the 2. Once I get the first 2 stitching done, I tie it around to make a knot on the back. I stopped using washi tape just because I was stitching a lot, and the washi tape that I was putting on kept peeling up and I was just having issues with it, and so the knotting made it a little bit easier. Every once in a while I do add the stitching if I like run short on the thread and I can't tie the knot at the end, but I do try to use the knots. I did slow this down quite a bit so that you can see that cross X stitching on that, and you can see how I went tall between the cameras and short underneath the cameras. And I love the way that that looks. That off-white color, it matches perfectly with this Say Cheese collection. I did pull out these viewfinders. I think I got them, not sure. There was a creator, if I can find it, I'll link it below. I want to say it was Nicole Jones 911. She created a bunch of these, and they're like printable templates, so you just print them out and then you can use your 1.5 inch punch to punch them out. And I just purchased the like gray blacks, I think is what it's called, or gray tones from her because I knew that I was going to be using them on my Disney layouts, and that kind of worked for all of them. I did go through my Disney embellishment book because that is a separate embellishment book, and pulled out quite a few pieces. Over on the left hand side, I added a sticker that says happiness starts here. I also added a yellow star and then also a yellow ticket. On the right hand side of the layout, I added a tag that has some stars that match the stars on the black paper. I also added a little postage stamp that has the word "and" on it, and then a sticker that says Say Cheese. And of course, a little Mickey cup there to the far right as well. I really tried to make this weather report work in like every single cluster because I thought it was so cool. It says weather report and then it has sunny, partly sunny, cloudy, and a chance of rain, and I wanted to make that work. And it does eventually end up on the left hand side of the layout. My title is going to be "The Magic is Contained in Water." So I used the magic that was on the paper there. I have these black stickers that came with the original Say Cheese collection, so I used that for the word "the." I have this smaller stamp set that is from Studio Calico, and I will try to link it below. I don't know if it's still available, but I specifically purchased it because it has small words on it, like was, with, you, and, me, I, are, am, this, is, in, all. So it's those little tiny words that I hate using all the time. So I pulled it out for the word is and the word in. And then I used my Simple Stories Color Vibe stickers in the bright, I believe, to spell out the word contained. And I did put the tile stickers up on a strip of foam that I got from scrapbook.com. And then I also have a sheet of gold stickers that came from the collection. I think it came from the Say Cheese 2 collection. And I used that to spell out the word water, so that the gold in the word water and the gold in the word magic do match because they both came from the same collection. And you know, sometimes it's hard to match the color gold. There's so many different shades of gold, like rose gold and yellow gold and more of a copper gold. It's crazy. But I do love the way that that title came out. So you saw briefly there my embellishment book as I put the gold letters back in. Then I have these enamel shapes that are Mickey heads, and I added a white one over to the weather report since I did actually make that work. I thought about adding Mickey heads to the partly sunny, cloudy, and rainy to like kind of cover them up so that the sunny one would really showcase, but it didn't look right, so I took them off. I did add a white Mickey head over to the far right hand side to cover up that tag hole. And then I pulled out my color boxes in my wood veneer as well as black. And I added wood veneer stars to each one of the clusters and then added some black enamel dots to each one of the clusters as well. And of course, using my glue press to get it all down. Now for this particular layout, I decided that I wanted really long strips, so I couldn't use my die to cut out the strips. And I am spoiled with that die because I had a really hard time getting these journaling strips straight. I first cut them out with my paper trimmer, but I cut them too big. So then what I decided to do was I adhered them directly to my mat. And then I used my layering guides to line them up. Of course, I couldn't use it like I would use a photo because there wasn't anything for it to catch on, but that did work pretty well. I just had to keep picking it up and putting it back down because it would come off of the mat. But I really enjoy using my X-Acto knife. I use it on quite a few things, and I feel like that is the best way to get really close to things that my paper trimmer cannot do. My paper trimmer has that little lip, which most paper trimmers do, that holds your paper in place, so I can't get really small things. I do forego the layering guides and just pull out my T-square ruler. That worked a lot better because I was able to attach the T part to the mat itself. So I was able to make sure that my strips were straight because I was using the grid on my mat there to line it up. And then I decided to use those foam strips again to add my journaling directly to my layout since I had longer strips and I wasn't using my die. My journaling says, "My Disney must-have, a trusty 40-ounce water bottle that keeps my drink icy for hours. Need a refill? No sweat. Disney's got you covered with free water cups. Conquering the scorching Florida sun can only be done with a neck fan, a cooling towel, and a little magical boost from Olaf." Since I do have that magic shot on the left-hand side with Olaf, and I thought that was a little extra touch because, you know, we're definitely not getting any type of cold weather here in the state of Florida. As I'm finishing putting those journaling strips on, I do want to encourage you again to go check out all of the links below. There's lots of Disney inspiration from All About the Mouse YouTube hop. All right, that is it for this video. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. I hope you enjoyed this video as well as my tips on how to survive Disney in a Florida summer. If you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.